acids and its derivatives. Okay, so let's start with the nomenclature of carboxylic acids. Now, in naming carboxylic acids, it it follows the same rules in naming aldehydes. Okay, so I hope naapay knowledge, no? Okay, wala pa nalimtan. Okay, ang mga basic knowledge to name aldehydes. Now, bakit it follows the same rules in naming aldehydes? It is because the same with aldehydes, ang mga carboxylic acids are also considered terminal functional group. Okay, I repeat, the same with aldehydes, ang carboxylic acid group, ang carboxylic acid functional group, they are also considered terminal functional group, meaning to say, kana nga functional group in a molecule is always found at the end, at the terminal part of the molecule. Okay, so recall lang nato, di ba carboxylic acid is R, C, double bond O, then a terminal OH. Okay, so pinaka-terminal most, no? Most terminal nga atom is hydrogen din. So terminal gahapon nga functional group ang carboxylic acid in general. Therefore, parehas kay aldehydes, open chain aldehydes, dili na nato kailangan i-indicate pa kung asa makita ang carboxylic acid nga group. Kay automatic na agad na siya sa terminal sides. Okay? So points to remember lang ta. Okay? Unsa man ang pinaka-importante nga ato ang i-take note in naming carboxylic acid. Simple carboxylic acids, take note, they are derived from an open chain alkane. And after we derived its corresponding open chain alkane name, replace the ending E with oic acid. Let's say, for example, the parent chain, okay, ang pinaka-longest carbon chain for that carboxylic acid is, let's say, 4 longest carbon chain. So, ang yang corresponding open chain alkane is butane. Ending in E, change that into oic acid. So, from butane, change that to, ang E to oic. Space acid. That would be the parent. And always take note, this carbon ng carboxylic acid is always numbered as carbon 1 in numbering. Siya always ang number 1, then so on na dayon. Carbon 2, 3, 4, etc. Mas the longest parent chain. Okay. So, let's say for example, ato i-name ha, tanan. Let's have the first molecule. These are all carboxylic acids ha. So, automatic kaniyang carbon 1, 2, 3. 3 carbon chain alkane name ana is propane. Change the ending E of propane to oic acid. So that becomes propanoic acid. Di na ka pwede mo ingon og 1 propanoic acid. Kaya ganang ha, automatic na agad na siya permi sa terminal side. Okay, next, number 2. So this would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pentane. Change the ending E to oic acid, pentanoic acid. Merong substituent at carbon 2. So that becomes 2-methyl. Sa carbon 2 na methyl, 2-methyl pentanoic acid. Next, number 3. This would be carbon 1, 2, 3. Until diri ra. Kaya this is already chloride. Chloride is not part of the parent chain. Again, ang parent chain is only purely carbon lang yun. Di ka pwede diri ka mag-start sa oxygen. No. Ang parent chain ra gyud sa organic compound is carbon. Carbon to carbon to carbon to carbon. So, 3, propane. Na ay substituent sa carbon 3. And that is chloro. So, 3 chloro. 3 chloro. Okay. Ayan. 3-chloro-propanoic acid. Okay. Next. What about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Butane. Okay? Yahang corresponding alkane name. Change the ending E to oic acid, butanoic acid. Meron bang substituent? Yes. How do you name the substituent? Carbon double bond O. Carbon double bond O. What is that substituent? How do you name that substituent? It is oxo. Very good. So 2-oxo butanoic acid. 'Di ba? Naalala kapag ang ketone, sa ketone, meron ng kasamang other functional group, example, specifically aldehyde, at saka carboxylic acid, that ketone group will become substituent. Magiging oxo siya. Next. So this would be carbon 1 kasi yan yung carboxylic carbon. Carboxylic acid carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hanggang dyan lang. 5. So pentane ang iyahang corresponding alkane name. Change the ending E to oic acid, pentanoic acid. Yan yung parent, pentanoic acid. What are the substituents? Na ay amino. This is amino. Ano pa? We have hydroxy. Alphabetical lang dayon. I-alphabetical ang substituents. Una ang amino. Okay? So, 2 amino, 5 hydroxy. The parent is pentanoic space acid. Now, next. This is carbon 1, 2, 3. Continue. 4, 5, and 6. Di ka mo stop lang sa 5. Continue ka. That is the longest carbon chain. So 6 carbon containing parent chain nga merong double bond. So what is the corresponding alkene name? It is hexene. Okay, this is hexene. Yang corresponding ba nga alkene. Hexene. Change the ending E to oic space acid. Okay, that is the parent. Since na ay double bond, unsa atong permi dumduman kung na ay double bond, always locate asa ang double bond. So the parent would be 2 hexanoic acid. Yan yung parent. Meron bang substituent? Yes, sa carbon 3. That becomes 3-methyl 2-hexanoic acid. Okay? Next. So here is the carboxyl group. So this would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pentanoic acid ulit. Mayroong substituent sa carbon 3, 3-hydroxy, pentanoic space acid. So don't forget ha, ang suffix oic space acid. Di ka pwede mo yung oic acid. Imong isumpay, wrong na. Okay? Next. Where is the carboxylic acid group? So here. Okay? Pangitawan mo kung makita kag carbonyl group, then na sa terminal side OH, then that is carboxylic acid. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, continue, 6. Dili na siya, mutaman ra ka sa 5. Continue man. Continuous. Okay? So 6 ang longest carbon chain. What is the corresponding alkene? Bakit corresponding alkene? Because of the presence of double bond. So that become, yung corresponding alkene is hexene. Change ulit the ending E to oic acid, hexanoic acid. Okay? So, asan yung double bond carbon 4? Okay, that becomes 4-hexanoic acid. Walay substituent. Diba? Number 9. We have this as carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, 4, and 5. Pwede ra pasaka ka. It's still a continuous carbon chain. So, pentanoic acid ang parent. What are the substituents? Na ay substituent nga ethyl. This is ethyl. Okay, 1, 2. 2 carbon alkyl group. Ethyl. Nakay OR. What is that alkoxy? Methoxy. Kinsay una, ethyl or methoxy? Ethyl. So that becomes 3-ethyl, 2-methoxy, pentanoic acid. Okay? What about this one? You have at carbon 1, And at carbon 3, there are carboxyl group, carboxylic acid group. Ano sabi natin? These are terminal functional group. Automatic, dili na tamag, number, mag-indicate sa position ng carboxyl acids. Kung naba siya sa carbon 1 and naba siya sa carbon 3, no. Diretso lang kag dioic acid. Dioic acid. What is the parent corresponding alkane name? Propane. And you will be using a di prefix. Starts with letter D, a consonant. So, no need to replace the ending E. As is lang, propane, dioic acid. So, the same lang nga rules. Okay, sa uban, functional group. Okay? Next. Let's have the cyclic naman. Cyclic carboxylic acid. Okay, for cyclic carboxylic acid, make sure nga for you to identify nga cyclic carboxylic acid siya, dapat yung carboxyl acid carbon, ito ba? Di ba mo na siyang carboxylic group, OH. Kani siya nga carbon, OH pala, OH. Kana nga carbon, carboxylic acid carbon, it should be directly attached to a ring. Okay? So, dapat na ay directly attached sa ring. Same with aldehyde. Diba sa aldehyde is, dapat katong aldehyde carbon is also directly attached to a ring. That makes it a cyclic carboxylic acid. And for you to name that cyclic carboxylic acid, this time you use the suffix carboxylic space acid. So medyo taas-taas pod. Pareha kay aldehyde. Doon sa atong suffix kung cyclic aldehyde na carb aldehyde. For cyclic carboxylic acid yung mismong suffix added to the end of the root parent name. Another thing, the carbon atom of the ring, kung asa naka-attach tong carboxylic acid carbon, that is considered carbon 1. But in naming, it is not necessary to indicate the location of that carboxyl acid group if it only contains one carboxyl group. So same lang gihapon. Same lang gihapon sa mga rules, just like aldehyde. No, kung isa lang ang naka-attach nga carboxylic acid, dili na kamo ingon nga 1 cyclohexane carboxylic acid, no need. Okay? So, in naming, ayan. Okay. So, what will you do is first identify. You simply identify the ring. Ano lang? Identify the ring. So, this is cyclopentane. Diba ang ring is cyclopentane. Then, add the suffix. Unsa gani ang suffix nga gamiton? Kung cyclic carboxylic acid, carboxylic space acid. So, cyclopentane, then the suffix carboxylic acid. Paano pag aldehyde to? Paano pag aldehyde yan? That becomes cyclopentane, carb, aldehyde. The same lang, dalon lang yun nimo kung unsa ang rule sa aldehyde. Lahi lang ang suffix. Ana lang, lahi lang ang suffix. Kay carboxylic acid naman ni siya. Alright? Next. Okay, this one. This would be carbon 1. Diba sabi doon sa points to remember? Carbon 1 always. Ang carbon kung asa naka-attach ang carboxyl acid group. So this would be carbon 2. Okay? So when you name that ring, this is 2-bromo cyclohexane. 2-bromo cyclohexane, sumpayi dayon og suffix nga carboxylic acid. So mura ra kag nag-name gyud, in-name as if wala pa ni. I-name na siya nga ring. Okay? So that's 2-bromo cyclohexane, ang ring. Dobi, this is a cyclic carboxylic acid. So sumpayi og suffix nga carboxylic acid. Okay, next. This one is cyclohexane carboxylic acid. Now, what about this one? This would be carbon 1, katong asa naka-attach ang carboxylic acid, carbon 2, then this would be carbon 3. So sa carbon 3, merong oxo. So 3-oxo, cyclohexane, sumpay, og suffix nga carboxylic acid. Number 6, this is benzene. So benzene, sumpay lang dayon og suffix nga carboxylic acid. Or this is commonly known as benzoic acid. Mo na yung common name. Benzoic acid. Benzene nga merong carboxylic acid group. Diba? COOH. Mo na siya yung simplified. Okay? You also have to be familiar with the simplified one. Okay? Kaya yung mga structure nga gisimplify ang mga functional group. Unsay simplified form sa aldehyde, it's CHO. Okay? So kung carboxylic acid, COOH. Carbon double bond O, then OH. Next. This is carbon 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so 4-fluoro. Benzene, carboxylic acid, or yung mismong common name ani. Ano may common name ani? Kaniya kung gisirkulan, di ba muna na ang tibuok benzoic acid. So ang kulang nga wala ni mo na name is kaning fluoro, nasa carbon 4. So 4-fluoro benzoic acid. And lastly, you have here carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Corresponding cycloalkene name is cyclohexene. Hexene. Nasaan yung double bond? Carbon 3. Kaya cyclohexene carboxylic acid. 3 cyclohexene carboxylic acid. That's all for carboxylic acids, diba? Once you know already the concepts in naming, naalang yung gamay nga changes kung lahi na nga functional group. Especially sa suffix lang din sila magka-change. So my advice really is for you to master first the basics sa naming. You master the alkane, kay wa di gyud ka maka-name og miski aldehyde, kiton kung katong alkane pa lang di ka ka-name. Okay, then alkene, alkyne, balika to ninyo. Then that's the time ma-realize nimo, hala, dali na lang man di ay no pag abot diri sa mga higher molecules. Kay naala i-change nga suffix, i-change na lang ni nga suffix. Kay lahi naman na nga molecule. Ang suffix man ang mag-determine kung unsa na nga organic molecule mong giname. Okay, so done with nomenclature sa carboxylic acid. Continue ta sa nomenclature ha, para straight lang ang atong nomenclature. Let's go with nomenclature of acyl halides. Okay, pag sinabing acyl halides, meron ding carbonyl group. Ano yung terminal part? Usually, a halogen in a form of chloride. So, muna siya ang functional group, basta acyl halide. So, usually, chloride ang halogen. Okay, nga naka-attach sa a carbonyl carbon. That makes it acyl halide. Okay. In naming, they are named by first identifying the acyl group. So, i-identify sa nini mga part. Kani nga part. Acyl then to the left. Basta ka ng acyl, except sa ani. I-identify sa nimang acyl group, tsaka na yung halogen, yung halide. Kay dali raman ang halogen. Muingon naman ka kung Cl na siya, chloride na siya. Kung Br na siya, di bromide na siya. Dito ta mag-start sa acyl group. Kaya mo na ang parent. Okay, and then naka-attach sa acyl group ang mga substituent. Mo ang una na to i-name. Okay. Ang acyl group name, this is derived from carboxylic acid name. Okay, so mo na siya. Dili ka maka-name og acyl halide kung di ka kabalog name sa carboxylic acid. Susunod ra ni sila. Okay? Kay again, ang acyl group nga part, it will be derived from carboxylic acid name. How? If you already attain the corresponding carboxylic acid name, simply replace the suffix nga oic acid into oil. Yung ending nga carboxylic acid, change that to carbonyl. Naalala, bago lang nato i-discuss. Kung open chain carboxylic acid, change the ending E to oic acid. Kung cyclic carboxylic acid, unsa ato ang suffix? Taas-taas, carboxylic acid. Therefore, kung ang iyang derivation nga carboxylic acid is ending in oic acid, simply change that to oil. That makes it the acyl group name sa acyl halide. Kung cyclic, ending in carboxylic acid, change the whole suffix ng carboxylic acid to carbonyl. That makes it acyl group. Okay, sige, for example, diba, this is ethanoic acid. This is carboxylic acid, diba? This is carbon 1, carbon 2, 2 carbons, ethane ang alkane name, change the ending E to oic acid. So, ethanoic acid. Wala problema ana sa carboxylic acid, open chain. Now, what if this part here becomes Cl? This is already an acyl halide. Tama? This is already an acyl halide. So, pag name, from ethanoic acid ending in oic acid, kung say mahitabo sa oic acid, oil. So, kani nga part, naaman dire. Dire na ako ibutang. Ethanoil. So, okay na ang ato ang acyl name. That's the time i-identify na dayon unsa ang halogen nga naka-attach. And that is chloride. That becomes ethanoil chloride. Okay? So meaning, imo sa siyang una-unaon nga carboxylic acid siya. Kung ending in oic acid, then change that to oil. Then that's the time you change the oic acid to oil. Then identify the halogen. Okay? Pag cyclic naman, di ba, this is cyclohexane carboxylic acid. Muna siya yung carboxylic acid. What if kaning OH naging halogen? Example, naging Cl. This is already acyl halide. So, in naming from cyclohexane carboxylic acid, ang carboxylic acid nga suffix mahimog carbonyl. Okay? That becomes cyclohexane carbonyl. Ay hada ni identify ang chloride. Okay? Sige, let's have other specific examples. So, huna-hunaon sa nato nga kuan siya, carboxylic acid. So, this would be carbon 1. Una-una sa ba nga OH ni siya diri. Okay? Para gyud tanamban 1, 2, 3. So that is supposedly propanoic acid. Oic acid, ending in oic acid. Ang oic acid mahimo og oil. Ay haday nimo i-identify ang halogen nga bromide. So this will become propanoil. Sorry. Wrong spelling. Propan. Diba? From oic, mahimo siyang oil. Okay? Bromide. Nakuha? Propanoil bromide. Next. Una-unaan na sad, tinamban. OH na siya dira. Unsa na siya nga carboxylic acid? 1, 2, 3, 4. Butanoic acid na ay substituent sa carbon 2. So that becomes, that will become 2-butanoic acid. Oic acid, mahimog, oil. So 2-methyl butanoil. Sumpay, space has space, chloride. Nakuha? So, ana lang. Ang oic acid ending mahimog oil. Kung cyclic, ang carboxylic acid nga suffix mahimog carbonyl. Okay lang. Ana lang. Okay? This would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. So, una-una, this is an OH. Okay? Ako na ni-erase. Okay? So, that becomes butanoic. No? Butanoic. So, this become butanoil. Okay? Dari nang nakibutang butanoil. Unsa man ni siya nga, yan, halogen chloride. So, space, chloride. Next, this is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. So, huna-huna OH lang sa ni. Unsa ang corresponding alkene name? This is butene. Tama? Butenoic. Butenoic acid. Kung carboxylic acid na siya. So, ang oic acid, ma-change siya into oil. So, butenoil. Okay? Pero take note na ay double bond 3 butenoil bromide. Okay? Ang oic acid lang ang atong gi-change kanilang nahimo siya oil. Then then i-identify nimo ang halogen. Okay, next. Carbon 1 ni siya, carbon 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So kung OH ni siya dire, mahimo na siya hexan na may double bond. So iyang corresponding alkene is hexene. Change the ending E to oic acid. So hexenoic acid. Ending in oic acid, may mo siya hexenoil. Okay? Kay kuan man ni siya acid chloride. So ang iyang parent is 2 hexenoil. Okay? Parent pa na siya. Sa carbon 2 na ay ethyl. So 2 ethyl 2 hexenoil. Don't forget to identify the halogen. Chloride. Alright? So 2 ethyl, 2 hexenoil chloride. Next. Let's say this is OH sa. This is a cyclic carboxylic acid. So una-una sa nato, carboxylic acid siya nga cyclic. So this become cyclopropane. Diba? Dapat cyclopropane then carboxylic acid supposedly. So ending in carboxylic acid, change nato ang carboxylic acid to carbonyl. Mao man ang rule. Kung mahimo siya acyl halide. Okay, kay acyl halide man siya. So change the carboxylic acid suffix to carbonyl. Carbonyl. Then that's the time we identify ang halide, chloride. So nga na ha. Next. So this would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So ito yung part sa carbon 1 mo na siya ang part nga functional group. Okay? So for carbon chain, that's butanoil. Yeah, from butanoic acid, butanoil. Okay? Butanoil. Chloride. But take note, na substituent. Naa sa carbon 3. Sige, type in your answer. What is that substituent? Okay, very good. That is oxo. Okay, 3. Sorry for that kadali. All right, so that's 3-oxo-butanoil chloride. Okay, next. Tell me, is this a cyclic compound or still an open chain? Cyclic or open chain? Cyclic or open chain? Ano sabi natin kapag cyclic? Dapat naka-directly attach yung, okay, very good. This is an open chain pa rin. Kasi andito yung carbonyl group. Carbon 1, 2, 3. Napasa carbon 4 ang ring. Dapat, di ba, supposedly, directly attach ang carbonyl carbon ng functional group towards the ring to make it cyclic. So this is still an open chain. Okay? So ending in oic acid gyapon eh. No? 4 containing carbon, butanoic acid yung corresponding carboxylic acid. Ending in oic acid change to also butanoyl. Alright? Butanoyl chloride na merong substituent. Nasaan yung substituent? Sa carbon 4. Type in your answer. What is that? What is that substituent? Very good. That is phenyl. Okay, so 4 phenyl, sumpay. Butanoyl space chloride. Next, duha. So, as if this is an OH pa, this is an OH. So, yung corresponding cyclic carboxylic acid name is cyclopentane. Dapat na ay, this is carbon 1, then carbon 2, 3, 4, 5. Dapat na ay location, kay cyclic naman eh. Diba? Kung cyclic, more than 1 na gani ang iyahang number of carboxylic acid group, location good. Okay, so 1, 2, cyclopentane. Diba? Supposedly, carboxylic acid atong suffix. Kung carboxylic acid na siya, daw kay derivative man niya nga acyl chloride. Okay? So, this becomes cyclopentane carbonyl, okay, space, dicarbonyl. No? Dicarbonyl. Nganong dicarbonyl gani? Duhaman. No? Diba? Ang carboxylic acid nga suffix, okay? Muna siya ang suffix nga gamiton kung carboxyl acid group. Mahimo siya carbonyl kung acyl chloride group. So duha naman ka carbonyl chloride. So dicarbonyl chloride. Dicarbonyl dichloride. Nakuha? Duha ka carbonyl dichloride. So don't forget kani sila duha ang butangan og di. Kay duha man na, duha ka chloride, duha ka carbonyl group, duha ka carbonyl group. Alright? Sige. So done with acyl halide. Next, acid anhydride ta acid anhydride. So points to remember. Okay. Before taan na, ang acid anhydride first nga functional group, it's R, CO, then oxygen, then another carbon double bond O, then R. Mura siya duha ka carboxylic acid, no? Oh, kadali. All right. So again, for the functional group of acid anhydride, it actually composes two carboxylic acids. Okay, combination siya of two carboxylic acids. Sige, let's have first the symmetrical anhydride. So no problem with the term symmetrical. Pag sinabi symmetrical, the same. Ibig sabihin ng the same, itong part na to, okay, this one, kaning part and this part, same for that acid anhydride. Symmetrical anhydride na siya. So how do you name that? Simply identify the present acid. Simply identify the present carboxylic acid na corresponding compound. Okay. Then replace the suffix. Example, the suffix is acid. Replace that to anhydride. For example, supposedly, di ba, kung erase nato ni siya, this is a carboxylic acid, tama? Okay. This carboxylic acid is, di ba, 1, 2, 3. This is propanoic acid. Kung carboxylic acid ni siya, ha? Sige, as if. These are all symmetrical. Take note, these are all symmetrical, meaning parehas ang yung both sides ng R group. Okay? Let's say, ato sa ni erase. Carboxylic acid sa siya lugar. Okay? So, this is propanoic. Okay? Acid. Kani siya. And this is not lagi propanoic siya. Okay? This one is 1, 2. So, ethanoic. Tama, ethanoic acid. This one, this is benzoic. Diba? Acid. What about this one? This is carbon 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this is 2-methyl. Kung carboxylic acid, saan siya ha? As if. 2-methyl, then propanoic acid. Okay, ngayon, ang propanoic acid, ethanoic acid, benzoic acid, 2-methyl propanoic acid, napod siya gi-combine, nag-combine ka og duha ka propanoic acid, nag-combine ka og duha ka ethanoic acid, mo na siya, makaproduce na siya og acid anhydride nga symmetrical. Okay? Now, in naming, this ending nga oic acid, nila, simply replace that to anhydride. Ana lang. Okay? I-replace nimo siya into anhydride. So, mahimo siya. Ato, ibalik na ha. Gikan sa number 1. Ay, sorry. Ayun. Okay. Kung imong lantawon iyang other side, parehas ra siya. On the left side. Left and right side niya, parehas lang ang form. So, mura siya duha ka propanoic acid combine. That is how to produce that compound. So, ending in acid change that to anhydride. So, mahimo siya propanoic anhydride. That is how to name it. Okay? Next. This one. Dalawang ethanoic acid gi-combine, gi-mix. Okay? That becomes ethanoic anhydride. Alright? Dalawang benzoic acid gi-combine. Okay? That will produce benzoic anhydride. And lastly, dalawang 2-methyl propanoic acid, then that becomes 2-methyl propanoic anhydride. Okay, sulat ko ha. 2-methyl propanoic space anhydride. So that is how to name it. Excuse me. So these are derived good from carboxylic acid. That is why, di ba, ang tawag sa ila in general, derivatives of carboxylic acid. Kasi na-derive sila from carboxylic acid. Next. Another points to remember. This time, for unsymmetrical anhydrides. Sa man ang unsymmetrical anhydrides? Diba? R, C, double bond O, then C, double bond O, R. Ibig sabihin, magkaiba yung both sides. Kasi different carboxylic acids ang gimix. Let's say for example, gimix ang propanoic acid ug ang ethanoic acid. That will form unsymmetrical anhydride. Tama? So in naming, you simply cite the two acids alphabetically. So i-identify nimo ang picas. Example kani ang picas ethanoic, ang picas propanoic. Then add the word anhydride. Ana lang. Cite the two acids alphabetically, then add the word anhydride. So say for example, um, erase na ko niha. What is that carboxylic acid? Example, this is a carboxylic acid. This is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. This is butanoic. Diba? Butanoic. Eh, syempre, i-change na to ang acid. Diba? Ang rule sa anhydride, ang acid lang a word ang i-change to anhydride. But these are unsymmetrical. We have to identify the both acids. Kani siya sa picas. Sa picas, what is this acid? Tell me. If this is carbon 1, 2. What is that acid? Carbon 1, 2, ethanoic acid. So, kinsay una, butanoic, ethanoic. Okay? Then, the word anhydride. Okay? So, imo ra siyang gi-identify ba una. So, kani butanoic acid, kani siya sa ethanoic acid. Okay? So, ang nahitabo lang is, cite the two acids alphabetically. And then, add the word anhydride. Siyempre, dili nimo apilo ng acid nga word. Kaya diba, i-replace nato na into anhydride to make it acid anhydride. So, simply yung root name, butanoic, ethanoic, anhydride. So, space, space, space. Next. This one, carbon 1, 2, 3. What is this part? What is this carboxylic acid? Propanoic. Let's say propanoic acid. Now, what about this one? Carbon 1, 2. This is ethanoic. Kinsay una? Ethanoic, propanoic, diba? Ethanoic, space, propanoic, then anhydride. Alright? Next. What about this one? Let's say, erase na to ni. What is this carboxylic acid? Isa lang ka carbon, carbon 1. Sama na siya. Isa lang ka carbon, unsa nga suffix? Sige, type in your answer. Kung isa lang ang carbon, what is that prefix? Methane, di ba? From methane, change the ending E to oic. So this is methanoic na part. Methanoic acid. What about this part? 2 carbons. Carbon 1, 2. So this is the ethanoic acid portion. So ang una, ethanoic. Ethanoic, methanoic, anhydride. And lastly, as if i-erase na to ni. What is this acid? What is that acid? Type in your answer. What is that acid? That is benzoic. Very good. That is benzoic acid. So, ibutang na to. So, this is benzoic acid. Akong ibalik ang isa. What is this acid? Duha ra ka carbon. Carbon 1, carbon 2. So, this is ethanoic acid. So, kinsay una, benzoic. Sunod, ethanoic anhydride. Okay? Benzoic, ethanoic, anhydride. Alright? So, that is how to name acid anhydrides. Symmetrical, kung symmetrical, diretso ra identify unsa ang acid kay parehas raman sila. So, example, propanoic sa picas, propanoic pud sa picas, isa lang imo identify, propanoic acid. Okay? Pero kung unsymmetrical na, identify nimong isa, identify ang isa, alphabetical, sumpay dayon, anhydride. Okay? O, done with acid, anhydride. So, sa derivatives, we're done with acyl chloride, acid anhydride. So, let's proceed to esters. Okay? Then, napa din last, ang amides. So, esters. Esters naman, it's R, C, double bond O, then OR. Tama? Dumdumi ha. The functional group is carbon double bond O, then merong terminal OR group. So how do we name this? Esters are named by first identifying the alkyl group. Ito. You first identify this part. Katong alkyl group that is attached to the oxygen. The alkyl group that is attached to the oxygen, you have to identify that first. Say, for example, CH3 ang nadira, so that is methyl. Kung isopropyl, then that's isopropyl. Kung tert-butyl, etc. You have to identify that first. And then, the carboxylic acid name. Okay, so kaninga part dayon. Okay, kaninga part. Imo na siyang kwaon nimo ang iyang corresponding carboxylic acid name. So, imo na po siyang as if carboxylic acid ni siya. So, nga na bitaw. Make sure to change, no? Kung na-derive na nimo yung carboxylic acid name, change the ending ic acid from that carboxylic acid name to 8. Okay? To say for example, example ha, ako ni siya i-erase. This is first an acid, tama? What is that acid? Carbon 1, 2. This is ethanoic acid. Diba? But kung imong lantawon ang iyahang structure, na siya OR. This is the OR part, OR. So this is an ester. Unsay ingon sa ester, in naming, identify the alkyl group. So identify ni nimo kaning alkyl group nga naka-attach kay oxygen. This is carbon 1, carbon 2. So 2 carbons nga alkyl group. Unsa na nga alkyl group? Kung 2 carbon, it's ethyl. Very good. That's ethyl. Okay? So how will you name this? Okay? Identify first the alkyl group. So ethyl, sabi, di ba? Ang ingon kay first, identify the alkyl group. So una, ethyl. Space, okay, space, ang carboxylic acid name dayon. Nga make sure i-change ang ending E, ama nang yung ending E ani, ic, ang ending ic acid to 8. So mahimo siya ethanoate. Okay? Ethyl ethanoate. Nakuha? From its carboxylic acid name, change the ic acid to 8. Mura atong gi-change. But make sure unaha og identify ha ang alkyl group for esters. Another thing. Another example. This is the R group, di ba? OR. Muna siyang OR. Muna ang R group. Kani nga part. What is that alkyl group? Ethyl. So, una ka, sulat ka, ethyl. Space dayon. Ang sunod ana, kato na ding carboxylic acid name. Okay? So this is carbon 1, 2, 3. Propanoic acid na, di ba? Kung carboxylic acid. So, ang ic acid nga part, i-change to 8. So, propan, no, ang ic naman, so noate. That is the ester's name. Okay? Next. What about this one? What is this alkyl group? Di ba muna siya nga OR. I-identify man nato ang yung R group, alkyl group. No, this is not isopropyl. Isopropyl is, ana man, this is isobutyl. Okay? So this is carbon 1, 2, 3, di siya carbon 1. Di ba? Upat siya ka-carbon. This is isobutyl. Terminal part. Okay? nga yes, carbon ang giremovan og hydrogen. So careful mo ha, this is isobutyl. So sulat na to, isobutyl. Then this would be ang carboxylic acid name dayon. So this would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. Butanoic acid na siya. 'Di ba? Kung carboxylic acid. So mahimo siya butanoate. Ana siya ang ester niya. Next. Muna siya iyahang OR nga part. OR. So kaning R group ang atong i-identify. Sige, tell me, what is this? Complex alkyl group. 1, 2, 3, 4. Point of attachment is a carbon with 3. Oh, very good. 3 more carbons naka-attach. That is tert butyl. Tama. So, tert. Okay, tert dash butyl. Okay, tert butyl. Then space, kani dayon. Okay, kani nga carboxylic acid name, corresponding carboxylic acid name. So this is cyclohexane carboxylic acid. Tama? So mahimo siya, 'di ba ang ending nga suffix ani kay carboxylic acid na kay mahimo man siya cyclohexane. Agoy, di na masigo. Atong utrohon ha, diri na ako sa taas isulat. Diri na ako siya isulat. Kay taas-taas man siya. So this is tert butyl. Okay. Cyclohexane, 'di ba? Carboxylic acid mo na siya iyahang corresponding corresponding carboxylic acid name. Pero anong sabi pag ester na siya? Ang ic acid ra ha, ang ic acid mahimo kani ic acid mahimo og og 8. Mahimo siya 8. So mahitabo carboxylate. So careful mo ha kay basing carboxylate. Di na maklaro. Again. Carboxylate. Okay? Kay kuan man ni siya, cyclic carboxylic acid. So careful mo. Kay basing mahimo siya, kay inyohang pag-name ani kay cyclohexanoic acid, dili pwede. Kay cyclic, di ba? Kung cyclic carboxylic acid, ang atong suffix na gamiton is carboxylic acid. So katong ic acid nga part mahimog 8. Next. This is the OR group sa iyang ester. So this is ethyl, tama? This is ethyl. Carbon 1, then 2. So 2. So ethyl, sulat. Then this would be carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So hexanoic acid ang yang corresponding carboxylic acid name. But dili lang siya plainly hexanoic acid. Kaya naaman siya mga substituent. Carbon 2, carbon 3, na ay bromo. Carbon 5 na ay oxo. So mahimo siya 2, 3, dibromo. What else? 5, oxo. Ay, haday ng parent nga carboxylic acid. Hexanoic acid. Pero dili na ni siya ic acid. Kay again, ang ic acid nga ending mahimo og 8. Okay? So this will become hexanoate. Okay? Sorry. Ulit. Hexanoate. Alright? Okay. Ayan. Last. Ito yung isopropyl. Okay? Muna siyang isopropyl. So this would be the acyl group. Okay? So, carbon 1, 2, 3. Then, naa na din siya phenyl nga substituent. So, iyang pangalan would be isopropyl 3-phenyl. Una ang substituent. 3-phenyl, what is the corresponding carboxylic acid name? Propanoic acid, di ba? Kay 3 carbon man. Mahimo siya propanoate. Propanoate. To make it esters. Alright? So, done with esters. Done with esters. Sige, last na ni siya, then mag-dismiss na ko. I will just provide a pre-recorded lecture for the reaction. Gamay na lang man ang reaction. Mo ang pinakasayon nga reaction sa carbonyl compounds, ang sa carboxylic acids. Okay? Sige, last na ni siya, nomenclature of amides. So yung technique yun siya ha, ang technique yun in naming derivatives, i-master sa ang sa carboxylic acid. Kay ma-derive ni ang mga names sa iyang derivatives base sa carboxylic acid niya. Okay? Na corresponding name. Okay. Sige, let's have the amides. Amides is our carbon, double bond, o then nitrogen. May it be NH2 or kaning duha ka H, may himog R group, etc. Basta naa siya directly bond to nitrogen. Okay? So, amides. So, with unsubstituted first, amides with unsubstituted amino group. Meaning, puros ra H. Okay? Ang naka-attach sa N group. Mo na siyang unsubstituted amino group. They are named by replacing the suffixes oic acid, ic acid to amide. Let's say, for example, i-derive nimo iyahang carboxylic acid name. Okay? And the carboxylic acid ending to carboxamide. Say, for example, hunahasa nato nga OH carboxylic acid ni siya. So this is carbon 1, 2, 3 propanoic acid. Propanoic acid is ending in oic acid. So mahimo siya amide ang oic nga portion. So namide. Nakuha? Ang oic acid mahimog amide. So propanamide. Sorry. Okay, next. Next is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. This is butanoic acid, supposedly. Nga na ay substituent sa carbon 2. So, 2-butan from oic acid, supposedly oic acid, change that to amide, butanamide. Alright? Next, carbon 1, 2. Ethanoic. Kung acid niya siya, carboxylic acid, ethanoic acid. But this is an amide naman. Okay? This is an This is an amide. So this become ethanamide. Alright? Next, this is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hexanamide. Tana lang, hexanamide. I-change lang nato ang oic acid ending. Next. What about this one? Diba? Kung OH ni siya, this is benzoic acid. Alright? Benzoic acid. Now, in this case, ano sabi? Change the oic acid to amide. So, mahimo siya og benzamide. Alright? So, the name here is benzamide. Okay, and lastly, diba, this should be kung OH ni siya ha, OH. This is cyclohexane carboxylic acid. Mo na siya kung carboxylic acid na siya. But amide man siya, ang carboxylic acid mahimog carboxylic acid nga suffix. mahimog carboxamide. Change na nimo. Carboxamide. Boxamide. Okay? Sana. That is for unsubstituted amino group sa amide. Okay? Kanang H2 lang bitaw ang naka-attach siya. So what if na ay R group nga naka-attach sa nitrogen? Okay? If sorry, dili ba siya? Naman ko. Cyclopentane ni siya. Sorry. Wala ta nagkakuan. Na-overlook ko. This is cyclopentane. Thank you for that. Kinsa to bantilan. Yeah, sakto. That is cyclopentane. Cyclopentane. Okay, carboxamide. Okay, next. Pag substituted na yung amino group, diba kaganina puros NH2, NH2, okay lang. Pero kung ang nitrogen atom of the amino group is further substituted, the compound now is named by identifying the substituent groups followed by the parent amide. So, unsaon man eh. So, how do we identify yung mga substituents nga naka-attach sa nitrogen atom? Let's say, for example, ingani ha, example ang given is CH3, double bond O. Then, ang nitrogen, let's say, naa siya'y isa ka CH3. Let's say, duha ka CH3. Instead nga duha ka hydrogen, R group ang naka-attach sa iyaha. Mao na ni siya, nabilong na ni siya sa nitrogen atom nga naay substituent. So how to identify that substituents? Kani, identify sa nato ni sila. Now, the substituents, when you identify them, they are preceded by the letter N. Dita mo ingon nga 1-methyl, 1,1-dimethyl, dili. Kay asa man sila naka-attach? Wala di ba sa parent? Ang parent chain kay di ba diri nga part? Okay? Naka-attach man sila sa nitrogen. So, ang ilang location is nitrogen. That's why they are preceded by letter N to identify them as being directly attached to nitrogen atom. Okay? So, mahimo siya N-methyl, N-ethyl, etc. Okay? So, say for example, ito. Diba, yung nitrogen ng amide na ay methyl. So, mahimo siya N-methyl. Then, ay dayon iyahang parent amide. I-follow gyapon nito ang mga suffix. Mahimo siya amide ang ending, mahimog carboxamide, kung cyclic carboxylic acid yung corresponding name. Alright? So, this is N. Sulat na ko ha. N-methyl. Okay? Then, what is the parent amide? This is carbon 1, 2, 3. It's propanamide. Sumpay, one word. Propanamide. Okay? N-methyl, sa iyahang nitrogen ay methyl. Then, ang parent dayon, propanamide. Next. Kaning sa ubos. Ang nitrogen na ay ethyl, napoy methyl. Kinsay una? Ethyl. So, N-ethyl, okay? N-methyl, then the parent nga amide. 1, 2, 3, 4. Butanamide. Nakuha? So instead nga number ang atong ang igamito nato nga ilang position, nitrogen, letter N for nitrogen. Okay, so don't forget to use the hyphen. Kaya ato man siyang i-consider nga murag number kay location. Okay, so what separates the location to a word is a hyphen. Diba? Next. This one. Na ay methyl ka-attach sa nitrogen. So this is N-methyl. Then, the parent amide, carbon 1, 2, 3, until dira ra. Then, naay substituent nga, chloro. So, mahimo siya 3-chloro, tama? 3-chloro propanamide. Okay? Next, let's have this one. This is, ayan, methyl group. Naka-attach sa nitrogen. Duha, the same methyls. So, mahimo siya NN dimethyl. Tama? Taga na to siya location ang duha. NN dimethyl. Okay? Nasabtan, ang duha ka methyl naka-attach sa nitrogen. So, each methyl na agad sila location. Murag number gihapon ba kung ang methyl naka-attach sa carbon 1 duha ka bukdi 1,1 dimethyl. Nga na lang iyang concept ba. Okay? And then what is this corresponding parent acid nga chain? This is, di ba, cyclohexane, carboxylic acid dapat. Cyclohexane, carboxylic acid, yahang corresponding acid name. So, unsa atong i-change? Carboxamide. Ang carboxylic acid nga suffix mahimog carboxamide. So, cyclohexane, carboxamide. Alright? And this one, parehas ra, NN-dimethyl, N-dimethyl. Then, what is this corresponding cyclic carboxylic acid name? This is carbon 1, 2, diba? So, 2-cyclohexene, no? 2-cyclohexene. Okay? Sumpay ra na ha, carboxamide. One word lang na. Okay? One word. Wala namang yung space. Sumpay lang na siya, carboxamide. So, done. No, done ta with amides. Well, let's try to check. Oh, that is the last slide. All right, so we're done with nomenclature of carboxylic acids and its derivatives. Now, do you have questions in naming? Questions in naming. Go.